Mock paper, this is the calculator 1 hour and 45 minutes higher tier. Starting you off, you've got a question about apples and bananas. You've got to work out what the cost of 1 kilogram of bananas is. First of all, work out the cost of 1 kilogram of apples, so £7 divided by 5, because there's 5 kilograms. That will give you 140 per kilogram of apples. Double it, you get 280. So you can take off the cost of apples from here, so that will give you 565, take away 280, so 3 kilograms of bananas is 285, divide it by 3, it's 95p, doesn't matter how you express it. The next one is showing using your calculator to work stuff out. Work the top one out, you get that. Work the bottom one out, you get that. Whack that in your calculator, you get that. Write down all the numbers. Write down your answer to 3 significant figures. That means 3 main numbers, not including naught. So 151, because that's 7, rounds it up, and put your 3 noughts in, and that's it for your marks. Question number 3, what type of correlation does this show? It's going down, so it's negative correlation. Draw on a line of best fit. I've already drawn my line of best fit on. There it is. Sarah has not got a marks maths, but her art is 23. So what you do is draw along from 23 on art, hit your line and come down, and I made out that she got 40. So there's my answers down there. And this is how I did it. You must draw this line on. If you do not, you will not get the mark for it. The mark scheme there, by the way, said that except between 35 and 40. And I think I'm near the upper bound of it, because my line of best fit, looking back at it, could have been down a little bit further. But that's still fine. Question number 4, distance time graph. Jasmine walked from her home to the park. For how long did she stop? Well, first of all, I always look at these, what they split up into. That's 9 o'clock. There's 2 intervals, and that's 9:30. So that's 10 past 9, that's 9:20, that's 9:30, 9:40, 9:50, 10 o'clock, and so on. She left at 10 past 9. She stopped at 9:30 for 10 minutes, so it's a 10-minute stop. Jasmine stayed at the park for half an hour. She then walked home, complete the travel graph. She stayed for half an hour. I'm going to just shade it in, but this is what I've drawn. This is her staying for half an hour along there, so you can see it. Hopefully. There you go, that's her staying for half an hour, so that's what you should have on. And this next bit's quite tricky. She walks home at 7.5 kilometres an hour. The way I've done this is, I know that 7.5 kilometres, she can walk that far in 1 hour. So in 2.5, so she can walk 2.5 kilometres in 20 minutes. What I've done there is divide by 3. I found a third of it, because I thought that was quite logical. And then if you double it, get 5 kilometres, double that, you get 40 minutes, and you'll notice it's 5 kilometres she's got to walk home, because it's 5 here, so it's 5 kilometres. It takes her 40 minutes, so it will be 10, 20, 30, 40 there. So that's why that line is drawn like that. Quite a nasty one, I thought. Question number 5, working out some missing angles. I'll zoom in so we can see it. There we go. Work out the size of the angle marked X. The angle marked X is obviously over here. 3 marks, loads of stuff you've got to do here. This one here is 28 because it's an opposite angle to that one. This is 53 because it's an F angle or a corresponding angle to that 53 there. That is 127 because there's 180 degrees on a straight line. And once you know that, you can work out the X, because there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So 180, take 28, take 127 is 25 degrees. You get a mark for each bit of these workings you do, 3 marks. Question number 6a, solve the equations. I've actually done this on a separate bit of paper, so I can explain to you what I've done. So here we go, question 6a. The question is 5x add 2 equals 2x add 17. I've taken off 2, and you get that. Then I've taken off 2x, then you get that. Then I've divided by 3 each side, then you get x equals 5. The next one, you've got to solve the inequality. First thing you do when you solve an inequality, it's got this funny little sign in there, like that one there. I just replace that with an equals sign, and then we'll put it back at the end. Here we go. So this is what I've done. I've multiplied, put the equal sign in, multiplied the brackets out. So it's 6y add 3 equals 10, take 3 off both sides, 6y equals 7. Divide both sides by 6, so y is equal to 7 over 6. Or when you do your answer for that one, it should say something along the lines of, you put in y, don't put equals, you need to replace that sign there. Put it as a fraction or as a decimal, it's up to you. Question number 7. He's put these in a stem and leaf diagram. Right, what I've done, I've started it off to show you, but I'm going to quickly finish this off for you now. This is the way you should do it. It's so easy. Tick off what you do. So 63, 63, 42, 42, 48, 48, and 51, 51. Yeah, fine, thanks. Yeah. Now this isn't right because it's not in order, so I've done a separate one below it, and now all I'm going to do is put them in order so you can see what I've done. That's obviously 2 and 7, that's done. That's 0, 1, 3, that's 2, 4, 7, 8, that one 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, and the bottom one is 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 7, 9. And there's my key, 3 marks. You get 2 marks for this, 1 mark for the key, so don't forget the key. Dead easy. Next one, question number 8. Okay, a little bit of conversion stuff. Here, zoom in a little bit so you can see it. You told what he buys, and I've circled it in pink, so that's what he buys. He buys 2 cheese rolls, so I've doubled it. The conversion is down here. So to convert it to euros, you times by 1.25, which I've done, but he buys 2 cheese rolls, so I've doubled that. So the total price is 14 euros, and I put 0.625. I've kept it as 3 decimal points, even though with money you don't normally, because we haven't finished the question yet. If it's still like this at the end, I'll round up, but I'm not going to round up now. He's got 10 euros, so I'll take 10 euros off it, and he's got 4 euros, 0.625 cents left to pay. Convert it back into pounds. Convert it back into pounds, and by dividing it by 1.25 this time.
Attention please, would Mrs. Curtis please come to reception if she's available? Thank you.
Divide it by 1.25 and it gets to £3.70 for 4 marks for that one. Underneath, factorise fully. When it says factorise fully, you've got to put the biggest amount you can outside the brackets. So what goes into 6y squared and 12y? Well, 6y goes into both, so it's like that. And B, factorise this one. It's got to go into a double bracket. You've got to think what 2 numbers multiply to make 30 and add up to make 13. So 10 and 3 multiply to make 30, they add up to make 13. You can check this answer. There we go. I multiplied it out and you get what you started with. So I know that that is correct. So I know I've got those 2 marks. Question number 10. Diagram shows a box, a little bit of proving here. Show that x cubed as 4x squared is 150. Right, we've got to find out where this comes from, because the volume of the cuboid is 150. What you do, work out the volume of the base, so x times x is x squared, like I've done there. And to find the volume, you do the cross section of the base or wherever, multiplied by the height. So that's why I've done x squared times x add 4, and you multiply that out, you get x cubed, add 4x squared. So x cubed add 4x squared is 150. That's where that comes from. 2 marks. Next one, a little bit of trial and error. I'll just zoom in and leave it on the screen for you so you can see it. It said it's between 4 and 5, so I started with 4.5, worked my way down, worked my way up. When I did 4.3, I'm pretty sure that was it, because you're so close to it, but you've still got to, in your working, show what it is for 4.2 and count that out. So I've written my comments here, and 4.3 is the closest. That's what I've written there. Question number 11. This is the mean of group data. First of all, find the class interval that contains the median. There's 40 children, so median's the middle one, so you want the 20th child. So where is the 20th child? So they're not in there, because that's the first 3. They're not in these 2, because that's the first 11, because I'm adding up. They're not in these 3, because that's the first 11, 18. So they must be in here somewhere, which is that one there, 3 to 4. So I get that in. Mean of group data. This is typical C grade question. Because it gives you a range here, you've got to find the midpoint, and this is exactly what I've done. Here's my midpoints. I've given them as decimals. and then you multiply across. So frequency times midpoint, you add them up to get 120, and then you divide by 40. So down here, 120 divided by 40 is 3. So that is an estimate for the mean number of hours. Question number 12 rather. Translate the triangle 3 minus 2. The top one means move it across either direction, and the bottom one means move it up or down. It works the same way as the coordinates. If it's going this way, it's positive. If it's going that way, it's negative. Or upwards is positive, or downwards is negative. So move each point 1, 2, 3, and 2 down. I'll draw little blobs. 1, 2, 3, and 2 down, and 1, 2, 3, and 2 down, and just draw it up. You don't need to shade it in. I've just done it so it shows up on the visualizer for you. Next one, describe the single transformation that's made A go on to B. 3 marks here. You get 1 mark for saying it's rotation, 1 mark for saying 180 degrees. It doesn't matter which way round it goes because it's half a turn, or you could even say half a turn, and you've got to say it's around point 0, 0, or you could say it's around the origin. That is also fine. Question number 13. It's a functional question because it's got the little hash up there, so once your working shown really clearly. First of all, just find the volume of the cylinder. That'll get you 2 marks, I would have thought, for this one. So the volume is pi r squared, because that's the volume, that's the area of the top, times the height. So you've worked that out. It comes to 540 pi. Or if you don't like working in pi, you can call it 1,696.46 centimetres squared. There is 2 marks for you there straight away. She's got a 15-litre bag of compost. One thing you need to know is that 1 litre is 1,000 centimetres cubed. So if you imagine, and you can just imagine this, you had a box that was 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, that would hold a litre of liquid. So 15 litres is 15,000, so you need to do 15,000 divided by this number here, or you could divide it by 540 pi, and that gives you 8.8. And how many pots can you fill? Well, you can't fill 9, so you can only fill 8 pots, 4 marks. Question number 14, you've got to model this one. A ladder is 6 metres long, it's placed on a wall. This can't be any, the instructions for using the ladder say the bottom of the ladder must not be closer than 1.5 metres, so it's 1.5 metres. How far up the wall can the ladder reach? Once I've drawn this, I think it's fairly obvious you've got to use Pythagoras. You know the long side, so we're going to be doing the taking away one. So 6 squared, take away 1.5 squared is that. Square root it, you get 5.8. It does say nearer the top, give the answer to 1 decimal place, which is what I've done. So 3 relatively simple marks there. This next one is nasty. Percentages, but it's backwards percentages. In the sale, normal prices are reduced by 20%. So the sale price of a coat is £52. What is the normal price of the coat? So you don't have to reduce it by 20%, or you can't increase it by 20% to find out the actual cost. Because it's come down by 20%, so we want to find out what it was. So it's going to be higher than 52. You could do it by trial and error and work out it's 65, or this is what I do. I say let's assume that X is a normal price of the coat, which it is. So I start off by saying X, then I reduce it by 20%. I'm reducing it by 20%. If you remember, you can use the multiplier of 0.8, because this is the multiplier for reducing by 20%. So the original cost times that equals 52, because that's the sale price. Do a bit of rearranging here. I'm going to get X on its own, so divide both sides by 0.8, so that gives you the original, well, X is 52 over 0.8, which comes out to £65. Next one, question 16. Very straightforward, B grade sine, cos and tan. I've written this out, you don't have to, but why not? You might as well get it down, show them what you know. I've labelled my sides up, and I've noticed I'm interested in the adjacent and the opposite, so that's going to be tan. So tan 36 equals X over 8.7. Rearrange it, multiply both sides by 8.7, and you get 6.32. It says give the answer to 3 significant figures, so that's what I've done there. So the answer is 6.32, and there's my workings. Question number 17. First of all, you've got to fill in this bit at the top. What I've done is actually drawn it on a separate piece of paper. So this is your equation, y equals x cubed, take 3x, take 1. This is a sort of B+ grade question, I'd suggest this. The values of y we're missing are 2, 1.5, 0 and -1. So that's what I've filled in here. And then I've just done each one step by step by step. So I'll leave it there so you can see where the results came from. Careful at the bottom one when y is -1 because there's a double negative, so it's actually a plus. So that's that. So you fill those in and then you plot them on the graph and you get something that looks a little bit like this. What you've got to do now, this is, a lot of people get this wrong. I'm no artist, but you've got to join up these points to make some sort of curve. Don't feather, just draw a straight line and you're marked on if it's relatively straight and it goes through all the points. So it should look something, I know this isn't perfect, but see how it's going through the middle of every single point. That is the main thing they're looking for. And I've still got a little bit of a curve on it there. Okay, so it should look something like that. Use your graph to estimate the solution of x equals 0. When it says equals 0, it means where does it cross this y equals 0 line here, and it crosses it in 3 places, there, there and there. So you need to say what they are. That is -1.5, that's one of them. The next one I reckon is -0.3, and this one here is, I've got it down as 2, but I'll be honest, I've cheated. The mark scheme says it's 1.9, but it will allow 1.8 to 2.1. So as long as you've got between 1.8 and 2.1, that's absolutely fine. Question 18. Probability tree, fill it in, should look something like that. If that's 9/10, that's 1/10. If that's 2/5, that's 3/5. There you go. Work out that probability. Hannah will win both matches, so you've got to go for win, win. So 9 out of 10 times 2 over 5. It doesn't say anything about simplifying it, but I chose to simplify it. It's 9 over 25, 4 marks. Very easy. I think that's probably the easiest marks you'll get on the exam paper at this late stage. Next one. Right, shade in the portion of the grid that satisfies all these inequalities. We haven't done loads of this, but let's have a quick look. Again, replace these greater or less signs, then just equals. So look, where's the line y equals -4? Here, everywhere along this line, y equals -4. So draw that in. Where's the line x equals 2? Well, it's here, this one here. So I've drawn that in as well. And where's the line y equals 2x, add 1. What I did, it worked out in my head. So I've said, say y is 3, then 2 times something, add 1. So x must be 1. So that's why that's that. If y is 5, 2 times what, add 1 is 5. So it's 2 2's. So you've got my points in there. Draw your line, and you've got a shade in the middle region. 4 marks. Question number 20. Write down this number in standard form. You've got to count the decimal points, so it is 3.7 times 10 to the, my bad, that should be -4 there, because it's quite a small number. Write 8.25 times 10, an ordinary number. I just write 8.25 and put a load of noughts on, then just count back the points. So it comes back 3, so 1, 2, 3, so 8250. And use your calculator to work out part C. Again, the calculator gave me that as an answer, 1260. So I've got to count back my decimal points. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1.26 times 10 to the power 4. Question 21, it's all about bounds. What's the upper, write down the upper bound for the width. Okay, the width is 18 centimetres, correct to 2 significant figures. So what's the highest that 18 could have been, that we can still call it 18? Now technically it's 18.49 reoccurring, but 18.49 reoccurring is just 18.5, so you can put 18.5 for that. Then calculate the upper bound for the area of the rectangle. You need to do your 18.5, because that's the upper bound for the width, times the upper bound for the length, so that's 30.5, and you should get something like that. Show your workings there. Question 22. Diagram shows a child's toy. Loads of separate bits here. You've got a cone and you've got a hemisphere or a semi-sphere or half a football or whatever you want to call it. An important distance here is to realise that this is 15 because the whole lot's 22. That radius is 7, but that 7 also counts from there down to the bottom because we're told it's a hemisphere. It's not an oval, so we know that that also must be 7 centimetres. So that's why that's 15. First of all, work out the volume of the cone. The formula's at the front of the exam paper. It's a third pi r squared h. So you plug your numbers in. So a third times pi times the radius squared times h. So you should get something like that. I've written all my numbers down because I've got to add it up later on. The volume of the sphere is this. It says in the front of your exam paper. So the volume of a hemisphere is that, but divide by 2 because you only want half of it. So again, plug your numbers in. Don't forget that's cubed this time, and you should get that. Add them both up, and you should end up something like that. But it does say near the top it wants the answer to 3 significant figures. So make sure you give them the answer to 3 significant figures, and it is there. So I'll just quickly show you all my workings for that one. There you go. Right, question 23. Moving on. Draw a histogram. Right, first thing, if this comes up and it says draw a histogram, write down the formula for frequency density. Frequency density is frequency divided by class width. So here we are, frequency 8, class width is a half, so 8 divided by a half or 0.5 is 16. And there's the others, look, 7 divided by a half is 14, 11 divided by 1 is 11, 9 is 4.5. So what's the highest got to go up to? 16. On the axis down here, they usually fit quite nicely. Look, you can go up to 16, which is what I've done, and just plot on your data. And that's all you've got to do. So there's your data. So there you go. And there is your histogram down the bottom. Should be nice, easy marks, that. Question 24. It's getting quite nasty here. Loads of steps to this, so I'll try and explain each one. There's 6 marks, so you can get marks even if you haven't got a clue what you're doing. One thing, it does say, read the question. Diagram shows a plan of a field. So there's the field. It's not accurately drawn, so we can't start measuring stuff. It tells us a few lengths here. It also says dB, so that's there to there, is 240 metres. So that's across the field diagonally. So I've written that in because it doesn't tell us that. Work out the area of the field. I've split it into 2 triangles. This one is here. This is my top triangle. So this is what I'm going to try and work out first. So step 1, I'm going to try and calculate the area of this. But to do that, I've got to find angle C. And I've called this angle C over here. I've used A over sine A equals C over sine C. So here's my workings. Just follow it down. That's that over that. So I've calculated that to be that, and done a little bit of rearranging, and you get C is to be 16.39. So I've written that 16.39. I've written that. Oh, I haven't written it on. The angle, rather, 16.39, so I have written that on. Yes, there we go. Right, so I've got that angle. So now I can use this one here to area was half AB sine C to find the area of this. So that I've drawn my arrow coming down to this one. I'll leave that there so you can have a look at my workings. Area is half times 68, because that's what A is, times B, which is 240, times sine 78.61, which is what that is. If you've wondered how I got 78.61, because I now know that, I can do 180, take away 85, take away that, which gives me that. So there is the area, and it's a metre squared. That's for the first bit. Right, the bottom bit, I can work out this angle here, because I'm told at the top it's 136, but it's cut in half. I know the top half is 16.39, so 136 at 16.39 is that. I know that length there. And I've also told that is 95, so I can just use this again, work out the area of it, add them up, and there's my answer. It does say give it to 3 significant figures near the top, so that's what I've done. If you're really stuck with a question like that, I think the logical thing is once you've split it in half, just use your sign rules and just try and work stuff out, because you can pick marks up on A to A star level questions like that. Question 25. I'll just go over this very briefly. Write down the coordinates of these points. Okay, if you're adding 3, it's going up the minimum point, so that's why it's 3, 4. If you're subtracting 2, you're moving it to the right, bizarrely, so that's 5, 1. And if you're multiplying the x by a half, you've actually got to double the value of x, so that's what I've done here. So x was 3, so now it's 6, and it stays 1 where it is on the y-axis. Next, the diagram below shows a 6-sided shape. We've got to work out the area, well, first of all, the area of it. Well, we know the area, but we've got to do it in algebra, and then we've got to work out the length of its longest side. So basically, we've got to find out what x is. To do that, you've got to split it up like it's a normal compound shape. So I've done that there, and I hope everyone can see what I've done, and I hope everyone can also see why this length here in pink is x add 1, because the whole lot is 2x add 5, then take away x add 4, which I've done there. So that shape there is this shape here. I haven't changed any of it. It's x add 1, 4x take away 3, multiply them together like you would do to find area. It gives you that, and simplified it, that is your area for the top shape I'm pointing out now. The other one at the bottom is 2x times x add 4, so I've drawn it out here for you. 2x times x add 4, I've got it there, multiply it out, you get 2x squared add 8x. Now, you've got to add those two together to get your area, so that will give you 6x squared add 9x take away 3. So that gives you this bit here, and we know it equals 102, so that's why because it says so in the question, that's why it equals 102. What I've done, I've got, I want to have 0 on this side because I'm going to solve it, so I've taken 102 off both sides, so I've got 6x squared add 9x take away 105 equals 0. Two ways of solving this. You can solve it by using the quadratic formula, which is in the front of your exam paper, or you can solve it the old-fashioned way by factorising it, and this is what I've done. I have factorised it. Draw my double brackets out, and then I've got to make a list. How do I make 6x squared? So that's 6x times x, or 3x times 2x, and how do I make 105? The 2 I tried was 21 times 5, or 7 by 15. I've played around in my head a little bit, and I worked out that if I did 3x and 2x and 7 and 15 and do those signs like that, I would get that to work, which it does. So the two answers to this are for this to be equal to 0, one of these brackets must equal 0. So that is either minus 5, because 3 lots of minus 5 is minus 15, add 15 is 0, so that's over there, or that is equal to 3.5, because 2 lots of 3.5 is 7, take away 7 is 0. So as one of those is 0, then doesn't matter what the other one is, because anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So there you go. Take x as the positive value, so x equals 3.5, and you will find that if you put your numbers in, the longest side is 2x add 5. So if x is 3.5, 2 times 3.5 is 7, add 5 gives you 12, and 12 centimetres is the answer. There, 6 marks. Lots of marks for it, but it's just a question of working it out bit by bit at a time. All of you should be able to do these the two top steps here to multiply them out. Then here it does get into your A and A star grade work. End of the test. Well done.